The basic foundation of life is the ability to breathe and to nourish one's body. For parents in the Bronx, these rights are elusive and for many unattainable because they live in a community that's under siege from toxic fumes from heavy truck traffic. Today we're going to talk about what the state of New York is doing to address that and help these families raise their children in a healthy, safe environment with access to the finest food distribution place in the world here at Hunts Point. So I want to thank everybody for joining us here this morning. It's great to be back in the Bronx. The celebration of 50 years of hip-hop is going to go on forever. Looking forward to the 75th, the 80th. I know a lot of you will be joining me with those as well, but we were just here last week ago, on a Friday night, at a great celebration at Yankee Stadium. We won't say any more about the Yankees right now. But I love them. But why we're back here is talk about a transformation of Hunts Point to make our commute smoother, the roads smoother, the streets safer, and ultimately makes the air cleaner. And I want to thank people here at this YWCA. This is an extraordinary gathering place for the families and the children who deserve to have the best in life, because why not? Here is a place children can just be kids again, and families can connect. I want to thank everyone here at La Centrale for giving them this gift. And I want to thank many who are involved in bringing this together. And I know our council member Salamanca, who you'll be hearing from, wanted to make sure that this happened as well and was a driving force. Also great to see, and I'll be introducing him in a minute, great friend of mine, our former borough president, Ruben Diaz Jr., who's been involved in all these important projects. We talked for many, many, many years about not just your love for the Bronx, but the necessity of giving the Bronx more. And we'll do that. We'll do that, but thank you for your leadership. Also, Marcos Crespo is here, a former Assembly member who was in office when I started as lieutenant governor. We had a chance to paddle the Bronx River together and to explore all the wonderful sights, and this truly is a beautiful, beautiful place. Thank you. Nicole Martel, you'll be hearing from her, the executive director of an organization that we all agree with. It's called Loving the Bronx. How can you not love the Bronx? And let's thank her for all her allies and supporters and members for what they do. We also have the executive director of the YMCA of Greater New York has joined us, Michelle Gattis. I want to make sure I get that right. Where are you again? Did I get that right? All right, thank you. My name is always mangled, so I'm a little sensitive about this, so I want to make sure I get yours right. Amanda Farias, I want to thank our council member for joining us as well. Selvina Brooks Powers, who has also joined us. Councilor Brooks Powers is also the chair of the Transportation Infrastructure Committee, so that's why she has joined us here today. So many people have joined us. But this place is really a treasure trove of history. There's so much to explore and to celebrate about the Bronx. And part of that great history is the Hunts Point produce market. It is truly the beating heart of the bustling food trade here in our city, our state, and the nation. And it's all made possible by the family-run vendors and who've been here for generations, and really just making sure we have food to eat, that our restaurants have what they need, that our bodegas and shops have all the fresh produce coming in from all over. I'm always happy when I'm touring and I see the boxes coming in from upstate New York. Let's keep taking care of our own upstate, our farmers, our growers as well. But this has been serving the city for over 233 years. That's extraordinary. And you think back to that time, you know, the cobblestones, the horses, and all the noise they made. It doesn't compare with what people are dealing with today. The clicking sound of hooves on cobblestone is vastly different. than what happens when large semi-tractors and trucks come through this neighborhood all the time. So there's been a huge change. And in 1967, this market that was in this area moved to Hunts Point, and it really has become a vital economic driver, great job creator, over $2 billion of economic impact every year. That's extraordinary. And it is the largest produce terminal in the world. I mean, this is the Bronx, this is New York. We're always going to be the best. And that's a huge point of pride for us, the fact that 60% of food in our city runs through this place, nourishing over 23 million people. But also with all this economic activity, which is good on this side, there's an impact. Because how does all this produce get there? It's not being dropped in by drones, I can tell you that much, at least not these days. It's coming in by trucks. And that economic activity means a lot of truck traffic. Over 78,000 vehicles travel to Points Peninsula every single day. But it's not just right there, the destination. 13,000 trucks are on local roads as well. Who's on these local roads? Kids want to play, seniors, moms pushing strollers. So this creates safety issues, traffic congestion, and my God, a lot of air pollution. So while the driving force is really the community, and the community is this market, the driving trucks have had a real impact on this neighborhood. It's unfair. It's unfair for parents to worry about their kids playing outside in this environment, but are fearful of the tractor trailers that are on the same roads. It's unfair for that essential worker who had a long night, maybe double shift, wants to go home and get a good night's sleep and just hears a lot of noise. All they want to do is catch up for the next day. And our seniors who want to go out for a walk. And any community member who just wants to take that deep breath of air and enjoy it. Something we take for granted in other communities, but not here. And truck traffic is the primary culprit for the poor air quality in this area. In fact, this has been called a pollution hotspot. Now, I know the Bronx is a hotspot, but I don't want it to be a pollution hotspot. And it is, thank you. It has higher asthma rates than anywhere else in the city. And I will take note that it's not a coincidence that this is a community of color. When we talk about environmental racism, people knew what was going to happen, but there was this benign neglect, not expecting people to stand up and complain. You just have to endure it. Decision makers over many decades have put in place policies that have harmed black and brown New Yorkers. And this long practice of redlining and discriminatory practices, land use practices, have put Hunts Point and neighborhoods like this throughout the city at a structural disadvantage. My friends, that changes today. Today we're going to take back our community, take back our air and our sidewalks and our streets, and make sure that everyone who calls this wonderful community home will have a better outcome, a better life, because they deserve it. We're going to be making changes. Thank you. We're making necessary changes to our infrastructure, and not just here, but all over New York, righting the wrongs of the Robert Moses era past. We are doing this all over New York. I talk about the Bronx when I'm talking about money to heal the black and brown community of the east side of Buffalo, where I come from, my neighborhoods. Syracuse, the same. Back in the 50s and 60s, they put the highways right through these black neighborhoods because they knew they didn't have the political clout to stop it, number one. And this was when they were trying to expedite the white flight from the cities. And these cities were never the same again. Until now, with my administration, we're going to heal them, bring them back together. So I talk about the Cross Bronx Expressway in the same breath as I do other places, say, this is what we're going to do, and it is long overdue. So that's what we're doing here today. Thank you. $1.7 billion. The Hunts Point Improvement Project creates a direct route. Why didn't they think of this before? A direct route to the Hunts Point market. This will increase safety, reduce air pollution, and will help some of the highest asthma rates in our city and our state. Now, last October, we talked about how we completed phase 1. Progress. People starting to say, this is actually going to happen. Because there's a lot of cynicism out there. A lot of people see plans come and go, a lot of talk from politicians for a long time, right? So they're going to say, well, show me. Let me see proof you're going to do this. And I understand that. I really do. Last year, we redesigned the highway network to allow for removing traffic from local streets, reduce truck idling. But today, I'm proud to announce we're about to reach another milestone. Phase 2 will be completed next month, ahead of schedule, and under budget. So we're moving ahead. We are moving down the road. Phase 2 will have rehabilitated key sections of the Bruckner Expressway and Bruckner Boulevard to create even more direct routes. We've widened the roadways and exit ramps to keep cars on the highways and off the streets. Just take a look at these renderings. This is the transformation we're talking about. We've also built a shared use path under the Bruckner Expressway, connecting Garrison Park and Concrete Plant Park, and I love to ride my bike. And we talk about creating safe, healthy activity for kids and anybody who just wants to get around and avoid the traffic. You can now walk safely, ride your bike safely, and we're going to do that to make sure that our pedestrians and our bicyclists get access to this exercise and this other means of transportation, their legs. So this is not the only way we're trying to bring environmental justice to the Bronx. We have some other good news to share today. We're committing $10 million more to transportation initiatives across the borough to invest in zero-emission school buses. So when kids are standing there waiting for a bus, they're not inhaling all the fumes. All electric mobility options, electric charging stations are coming to the Bronx, higher numbers, because we're trying to get people to do what they can to protect the environment. So this is going to help us meet our energy goals, 70% of electricity from renewables by 2030. And as long ago as 2030 once sounded, it's right around the corner. I will still be alive. It's not that far off. So these are our goals. This is what we're trying to do. I talk often as your governor about my number one job, which is safety. But I'm not just talking about safety from gun violence, although we're making great progress. I'm also talking about reducing subway crime, working on that, making people feel safe once again, helping our small shop owners. We're also trying to protect them and keep them safe from environmental threats as well. That's why today matters. That's why it's so important for a community that has suffered far too long, I would say, as a result of systemic discrimination because people just didn't care. And today we take a critical step to right that wrong once and for all. Because this is a new era for New Yorkers. I pledge that. This is a new day. And people, no matter what their zip code, where they live or where they started life or where they choose to live, should have the same shot at a healthy, productive life, full stop. That is the New York we're going to create, and we're doing it right here in the Bronx. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. And with that, let me bring up one of our great champions, my great friend, your councilmember, Rafael Salamanca.
All right, good morning, buenos dias. I want to start off by thanking our host, the Y, for hosting us today. Please give them a big round of applause. La Central was one of the first projects that I approved when I came into the council in 2016, where we approved 900 units of 100% affordable housing. And of course, we have this beautiful gem. And Governor, in the borough of the Bronx, we have two Ys, one here in the South Bronx and one further up north, but this one's better, right? Right, Ruben? We say that always. I want to thank you, Governor, for joining us today and announcing the funding that would help the borough of the Bronx. And most importantly, when you took the reins, ensuring that the Bruckner, the Sheridan Expressway was completed. And phase 2 of this project, honestly, is a dream come true. And I just want to say thank you for your steadfast leadership on this project. This project has been a long-time passion project for me. Back when I served as the district manager for Bronx Community Board number 2, I worked with then Assemblymember Marcos Crespo and Senator Jeff Klein and Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. And of course, I cannot forget Bronx Community Board number 2, the Point, and the different community-based organizations who advocated and wanted to make this a reality. Please give them a big round of applause for their commitment. Thank you. As a freshman council member, I continue this work advocating for the $1.7 billion in funding to fix up the Sheridan Expressway to the Sheridan Boulevard. When opposition arose for this proposal, my office worked with the advocates and educating them on why this was the right plan at the right time. And here we are completing phase 2. While my office has done a lot of work in my professional capacity advocating for this project, I also have a personal interest in seeing this go through. See, my father worked in the Hunts Point produce market for 18 years. Myself, being born and raised in the Hunts Point and Longwood community, I am an asthmatic. So is my son Aiden, who's with us in the crowd. And due to this horrible environmental effects left by trucks, pollution in the South Bronx, because of the pollution, I have to walk around with my asthma pump every day just in case I get an asthma attack. And there are countless other residents of the Bronx who are living similar stories as myself and Aiden. So addressing the heavy congestion and pollution fumes caused on the Sheridan are extremely important issues for myself and for this community that I love so much. When Governor Hochul toured my district 2 Fridays ago, we discussed these environmental issues affecting the South Bronx and agreed that truck traffic was the #1 contributor to pollution issues facing our borough, which makes this announcement with her today all the more meaningful. And as the council member representing this area, I was proud to speak when announcing phase 1 of this plan. For those of you that don't know, phase 1 included ramps in and out of the Hunts Point community so that we can remove the truck traffic from driving in through our community. And I'm proud once again to be able to stand here with Governor Hochul and announce further steps we are taking to address this issue and improve the lives of the people of the South Bronx. Before I end my comments, Governor, I need to give a big shout out to your agency, the Department of Transportation. The lead engineer, Shah, is Shah here today? Shah, I want to say thank you publicly. Yes, please give him a big round of applause. Governor, this engineer here has been accessible. He's had a tough job where he would come to the community board and explain that he's going to create traffic, right, on the Bruckner and Hunts Point. He was honest with us, gave us honest answers and timelines, and he worked with us when certain the plan needed to be tweaked a little so that we can ease up traffic. He was there front and center, getting it done. And I said this in phase 1, and I'm going to say this in phase 2. He deserves a raise. Yeah, he deserves a raise. Right? He deserves a raise. With that, it's my honor to bring up an advocate, an environmentalist, someone that I have much respect for. Please, a big round of applause for the founder of Loving the Bronx, Ms. Nilka Martel.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bronx. You could do a little better than that. We are here today due to the work that began in 1999 by the Southern Bronx River Watershed Alliance. The alliance was composed of 4 Bronx-based non-for-profits: the Point CDC, Youth Ministries for Peace and Justice, Mothers on the Move, and Nos Quedamos, along with 2 citywide advocacy organizations, the Tri-State Transportation Campaign and the Pratt Center for Community Development. The Alliance engaged thousands of local residents and stakeholders in creating a land use and transportation plan for the Sheridan Expressway corridor. Their community plan for the Sheridan Expressway provided a framework to address environmental issues and meet the community needs through land use modification and safer traffic routes. Their organization and advocacy efforts resulted in New York State's Hunts Point Access Project. While the fulfilled plan did not fully reflect the community's preferred plan or embody its core elements, we have had huge successes. The Expressway converted to a boulevard, measures for storm water management and green infrastructure, and the development of Garrison Park. If you haven't visited the Bronx River Greenway, let me know. We will arrange for that. With the completion of Phase 2, we're going to see traffic flowing directly into Hunts Point, shared spaces for cyclists and pedestrians along Bruckner Boulevard, and additional investment in an electric vehicle infrastructure to the Hunts Point area and zero-emission school buses. I joined the Alliance's efforts back in 2012, and we may not have seen all of our ideas incorporated, but in true Bronx fashion, we definitely made an impact. In a borough that continues to be negatively impacted by the legacy of Robert Moses, we thank the governor for her commitment to these infrastructure projects, and we look forward to working with you on continued investment to the Bronx, particularly advancing the campaign to cap the Cross Bronx to the state's priority projects. Let's make sure that we continue working together, community and government, to co-create our own legacy during this post-Moses era. Thank you.